Welcome to Maintainer's Garage. I'm Bags. Today we're going to be changing the front brake rotors on my 2005 C6 Corvette. I did a video a while back where there were some cracks in them, and when we get the wheel off and everything, I'll get into that and show you. But yeah, I did a video talking about some of those cracks, and a lot of them are okay. Mine had a couple that were a little big, but for street driving and not being too crazy, they didn't need immediate attention. But if you were going to do like some hard mountain driving, autocross or track day, you definitely wouldn't want to change them because they would crack all the way through under those conditions, and then you'd either be stuck or you'd have to change your rotor there. So anyway, I'm changing the fronts. I'm only changing the fronts. The rear are fine. I've got my car in the air using my quick jack. However you get your car in the air safely and to where it won't kill you, do that. And I meant to say this earlier. This video can also be used to change the front brake pads. I'm removing the brake pads to remove the rotor, and then I'm reinstalling the same brake pads back after I remove the rotor. But if you want to use this video to follow as a tutorial to change your front brake pads, you absolutely can. Put another little clip in the video when I'm done with the front pads, just saying, hey, skip to this timestamp if you want to see about reinstalling the front pads and tightening up the bolts and all that. And as always, thank you. I appreciate you. I appreciate all the likes, all the comments. We're keeping on in here, and it's like the temperature is set on broil up in here in Atlanta, and my fans I can't run because of my microphone. So I obviously dig you people and continue to do this, or I'm a sadist or sadomasochist or something like that. But anyway, we'll get the wheel off, but we're going to check for play in the wheel bearings and bushings, and I'll show you that now. Before I take the wheels off, you can try to grab the tire tread, or you can just grab the side of the tire, and you want to give it a little shake, and it's going to move a little bit. And a lot of Corvettes, because they've got the steering lock bypass defeated, or the steering lock defeated with bypass, but regardless, you can still grab and shake that. And you want to do 12 and 6, 9 and 3. You're checking your wheel bearings, all the bushings in there for the tie rod and the ball joints. Sorry, little chipmunk over there. He realized he didn't want to come in here. There's nothing but hate and discontent in here for him. So anyway, yeah. So now we'll buzz this off using our handy dandy impact. And down to the last one, we'll put our knee on it, and that way, when we do that, it doesn't fling all over the place and scratch the rim. All right, so we got our wheel off, and what we're going to do is a lot of C5s and C6 Corvettes, the column lock is bypass, so you can just grab the wheel and turn it. And what I mean by wheel is the rotor or the steering wheel. Either way, don't judge me. It's hot. And if I black out, oh yeah, this isn't a live stream. Y'all can't help me. So yeah. So we've got the two bolts here that take the caliper hat off, and then the caliper mount come off with two other larger bolts. I believe the ones on the caliper hat are 15 and the ones on the caliper mount are 19. I will get a better camera in here, show you that. I'm just kind of showing you this. And yeah, we'll figure this out. Is it a 15? Yeah, I do that often enough to know that. And this might be a 21 now that I think about it. Yep, it's a 21, not a 19. 21. Yep, exactly. I'll just edit that out. Yeah. Oh, the other camera. So we've got these two 15 millimeter bolts, lefty-loosey. And speaking of broil hot, hydrate or die, kids. Yeah, that's the basic simplicity. That means drink some water, drink some Powerade, Gatorade, electrolyte water, whatever, when you're out in the garage and it's on broil, because the last thing you want to do is become a heat casualty. And for those of y'all that don't know, see how they check your internal temperature. It's a giant thermometer up the hoo-ha, the backside, that's no bueno. And as this comes off, you can just set it right up there. Won't fall. There's our brake pads. Get them. Come on. Out. Out. All right. One of you suckers is getting out, and then there we go. And if these little tabs fall out, no sweat. All right, and now's the point in the video if you want to jump ahead to whatever this timestamp says here, and that'll just be reinstalling the brake pads and going forward from that, so you don't need to see any of this rotor stuff. Y'all might not be able to see it. I've got, somebody asked me on one of my videos, they saw this aluminum foil tape that I have. You'll probably see it better when I pull this off. It is for track days. When you track your car and you put racing brake pads on, your brakes the rotors get super hot. And it is a heat shield. It's not a great heat shield. It's a mediocre heat shield on the dust boots, on your ball joints. And you could use it's HVAC tape that's rated to a couple hundred degrees, and it seems to work pretty well. If you're inventive and you want to cut a soup can, which I've seen done as well, you can do that. I'll probably replace that as well, because when I was looking here earlier, it looks pretty ratty. It gets old. Now comes the fun part for these, and still lefty loosey. And before I forget, I will have the brake rotor part number down in the description below, so that way if you need it, it'll be down there. And that little metal tab that flung off of there, you can just put that back in. Grab it. Yeah, just like that one. And you just want to make sure they're pointed in the correct direction. And put them back in and squeeze them a little bit with a pair of pliers. And to get them to hold on a little better. We can set that there, and off comes our brake rotor. And as you can hopefully see, some of these cracks are pretty serious. If you get enough of these, you can probably turn them into your local scrapyard and get some cash for them. I've done that before on my old C5 when I blew through rotors a lot. I did a lot more track days too. And yeah, there's my little HVAC tape, and yeah, it's all jacked up, so we'll go ahead and replace it. Before I replace this, since we're here and all this is off, you might as well look around and say, hey, is there anything goofy looking? No, all my boots look good. Everything looks good. We shook the wheel really well. So obviously my tape is doing something. If my boot down there is not absolutely disintegrated and gone. And just like that, we've replaced our tape. We'll get some safety wire, wrap it around it. For any of you utes, or youths, or whatever, however you call yourself, haven't used safety wire before, there's one cardinal rule when you get to the end here and you cut it off. For anybody, yeah, I don't know how many twists per inch this is, but for this application, it's fine. Write your congressman if you don't like it. But this pointy end here, what you want to do is grab it, bend it over, and squeeze it to where the ends that are flailing about, if you stick your paw, hand, club, meat cleaver, whatever, into there, what do you not hit? That pointy end. There's nothing worse than sticking your hand somewhere and getting the end of a piece of safety wire jabbed under your fingernail. Oh, mother trucker. You want to talk about wanting to melt somebody's face off. And then what makes it wonderful and wonderfully awesome And what I mean by wonderfully awesome is, oh my God, I want to punch myself in the face, is when you're the idiot that was last in there that didn't do that. So, little tip, just a tip, mind. All right, now we need a rotor to put back on. A new one, not the old one. All right, so the holes up here are self-aligning, so just don't worry about that. Caliper mount, as these little metal tabs become the bane of my existence. Probably won't stay, and that'll be fine, and I'll embarrass myself in front of all my friends. Wait, I'm the only person in the garage. Exactly. Wait, what? All right. So, and you should be able to see the blue Loctite on the end of this bolt. It is totally acceptable to reuse that. And yeah, these things are going to make me want to Wayne Brady somebody. For those of y'all that don't know, Chappelle Show it. Keep mocking me. Keep mocking me, little metal tab. Just bend them out just a little bit. When you shove them in there, they have to conform. And hopefully it stays. And I got my handy dandy little chart here for torque numbers. If you own a C5 or C6 Corvette, you can find this sheet online. It is a whatchamacallit, a PDF file online, and it's got most of your torque values all over the place. So you can absolutely find this and print it off. Front and rear, same, 125 foot-pounds. So when I said 130, I was definitely in the ballpark. All right, so we got our torque wrench here set to 125 foot-pounds. And we will make sure we do them. We'll do one, then the other, then we'll go back to the first one. And as always, our Harbor Freight torque wrench is putting in work. Alrighty, there you go. Don't forget to set your torque wrench to 0. It's 23 foot-pounds on these caliper bolts, and I don't torque them. I go to snug. And don't forget to check your brake pad wear. I've looked at them when I did my suspension, so I knew they were okay, but don't forget to check them. As stated, I never torque these bolts. And there's a little bit of leftover Loctite, blue Loctite from the factory on there. Now your snug may be tighter than my snug. Your snug might be looser than my snug. The key here is not to over tighten them. I mean, you don't have to kill these things. Plug nuts are freaking 95 or 100, whatever it is. I can't remember off the top of my head. And so it's a third of that. So you take these down, and sometimes you'll need a wrench on this. I believe it's also a 15 millimeter. It might be a 16 millimeter. Maybe it's a 5/8. But a lot of times if you just grab them with your fingers, and I just go snug. I mean, I'm not wrenching on this thing. I'm not leveraged out here. I'm just, that's good. And same here. Just good. And I check the top one more time, and we're in there. And force it back to center, and that's it. Put the wheel on, keep on keeping on. I'm going to do the other one. You don't need to see that. Passenger side, same. All right, so we've got the car back on the ground. Lug nuts are torqued to 98 foot-pounds, and that's it. Yeah, and that's good. So don't forget now, you're going to have to bed in your new brake rotors to your brake pads. And The simple way to do that is before you even pull out of your driveway, just start pumping the brake pedal. And even in your neighborhood going 20 miles an hour, just pumping it, and that's just pushing those pads in. And then when you go to bed them in, 45 miles an hour, come down to like 20 miles an hour, then accelerate and do that like 5 or 6 times, and then drive a couple miles to let your brakes cool down, and you'll be in there. And that's just a good bed-in procedure for street pads. You can do it on the highway too. You can take it up to 65, 70 miles an hour, drop it down to like 40, accelerate back up, same kind of thing, and just that's going to generate a lot more heat. So you want to make sure you definitely have some cool down time there. But yeah, as always, comments, questions, concerns, throw them at me. I appreciate you. Thank you very much. Thanks for watching Maintainer's Garage. Hope you have a great day.